Good morning, students. Today we are going to see English 1. For English 1, we'll be seeing letter writing. So, personal letter we'll be looking forward. When we are writing personal letters, to whom this personal letter could be written? Personal letters are written to people like your friends, colleagues, neighbors, acquaintances, and relatives. Then, who are these acquaintances? They could be in your contact, or they are associated with you, or but they should not be your close friends, or they need not be your close friends. People those who are in your contact, or they are being associated with you in different ways, and you know them, then you can write personal letters to them. And in your writing, the personal letter style should carry three things, that is simple, natural, and intimate. A letter that you write, it should carry its language very simple, in which you should be able to very clear to them. Also, the letter that you write, it should carry some naturality between you and your friends, colleagues, relatives. The relationship that you have, that should be very natural. It should not be artificial in your writings, and it should maintain intimacy. Why? The closeness, the affection that you have towards these people with whom you are being contacted with, that should be having only very simple, natural, and intimate. So in your writing, you should take care of these three things when you are writing a personal letters, that it should be simple, it should be very natural, and it should carry some intimacy to people to whom you are writing these personal letters. So when you are writing these letters, it should sound tone. The tone of the letter or personal letter, it should sound very conversational. When you are writing a letter, he should feel that the other person, one who is supposed to one who is going to read your letter, supposed to feel the letter as if you are having a conversation with him. When you are having a conversation with your friends, then you did not be formal in your language when speaking to your colleagues or friends. So also, when you're writing a letter to your friends, that letter necessarily be informal, and your conversational relationship that you carry in your letter, your conversation that you carry in your letter should be very informal, and that should be with spontaneity. Why? To make it very interesting, to make the letter very informal in your writing, with three things carrying simple, natural, and intimacy in your writings. And you make that letter as a conversation, you're having a conversation with your friends. Also, you should make it point that that letter should be having very spontaneity in your writing, and it should bring some interest to it. One who is reading your letter, he should find some interesting thing when you are writing, or even when you are conveying your message to them. Then that become very interesting for the other person to read it. Therefore, personal letters are always written in informal manner, and it carries spontaneity, and when they read it, they find it very interesting. So while reading your letter, they should feel that they are having conversation with you. Therefore, it is said the tone is always conversational and informal. How? With spontaneity and with interesting. That is how we try to bring these three things in the personal letters. Now, when you are writing a personal letter, you need to mention the subject. What subject you are going to make in your personal letters? So subjects could be mentioning in your letters. The usual subjects of such letters could be exchanging of news or views, or extending invitations or congratulations, or expressing your sympathy, grief, or offering an apology. When you are writing a letter, depends upon the purpose of your writing, you should make it very clear that this letter you write for the sake of a news that you want to supply, or you want to get, or you have some view that you want to convey to your friends, colleagues, or relatives. That time you have to write the letter mentioning the view on which view you are writing this letter. Also, you are extending the invitations. Suppose you want to invite someone for your marriage, for your friends, or for your relatives, or for your brothers and sisters at home, marriage function, any function that you have at home. For that, you want to extend your invitation. That time you can write this letter informally, and you should be able to maintain the subject with extending invitations. Also, you should also You can also write a letter of congratulations to your friends, colleagues, relatives when they achieve in their life. Then you also can write a letter of congratulations. So congratulations could also be the part of your subject in the letter. Also, you are able to express the sympathy for being not attending any of the sad moment of the relatives family. So when you are not able to be part of that particular event or incidents, that time you want to show or express your sympathy through your letters. When you are writing the personal letters, you should be able to express sympathy, and that expressing sympathy should be your subject matter in your personal letters. Or grief, when you are in very sad, that time also you can mention this grief as your subject matter. Also sometimes you are going to offer an apology. You have misunderstanding with your friends, colleagues, relatives, so you want to write a letter saying that you feel very sorry for your misbehavior or for what you have done to them, and you feel sorry for that. You are trying to express your apology through your letters. That is how people find in your letter that your relationship with your friends, colleagues, and relatives, or people those are in your contact, they find themselves that your letter is being very simple, very natural, and it carries some intimacy. Also when they are reading your letter, they find that they're having, as if they're having a conversation with you, which is very informal. The language that you have written with informal language, also you have maintained the spontaneity, and the letter is very interesting when they read it. That is how the subject matter carries views, news, extending of invitations, congratulations letters, also expressing sympathy or offering an apology also can be the subject matter for your letter when you are writing a personal letter to your people, when you are associated with them or you are in contact with them. Beside this, when you are writing a letter, beside this, the layout and content, one must observe the basic rules of writing good composition like grammar, punctuation, and spelling. Suppose you wrote a letter, and after writing a letter, you should check out the layout of the letter or the content of the letter. You must observe what the basic rules. Grammar has its own rule, so you should be able to maintain the basic rules of writing your good compositions. When you're writing a letter, it should be containing good grammar, subject, verb, predicate, the sentences that you have, and the clause that you apply. Also, the spellings, punctuation, all these things you should be maintaining properly in your letters, or else this letter would be carrying misinformations, wrong information it will be carrying. If your grammar is wrong, they may not be able to understand. If the punctuation is giving wrong place, then the meaning may not be clear. If the spelling is written very wrong, then they will find the meaning very wrong. So students, here is the format of the personal letter. We have the format like, first we should have the address to whom you are writing the letter. The personal letters format is, first it carries the place where you write the address of the receiver. Then you write the date on the day you write letter, and the salutations. The salutations is very important. Here, suppose you are writing letter to your father or to your mother, that time you have to address with this, dear father, comma, or my dear dad, or dear mother, then comma. You should not miss out the comma. If you are writing this letter to your brother, then you would be writing it, dear brother, or dear sister. Or if you are writing your younger brother or your friend, dear Amit, or dear Arati. Or if you are writing letter like to your uncle and aunt, then you can be also mentioning dear uncle or dear aunt. If you are writing this letter to your grandparents, then you should be able to mention dear grandpa or dear grandma. Suppose you are writing letter to your close friend, my dear Arati or Amit or Arjun or Rahul, my dear Rahul, you can mention it. If you are writing letter to people those who are acquaintances, they are in your contact, or they are not so much of in close friendship, but you know them. to them you can write Dear Mr. Sharma or Dear Mr. Burma. You can mention in this manner people those are in your contact but they are not so close friend to you. When you come to the body of the letter, the body of the letter should be carrying three things mainly: the opening sentence, the subject matter, and the concluding sentences. These three things should be part of your personal letter. If you miss them out, then the letter will carry very less importance. So to bring it more importance in your writings, then the letter should be carrying in the body the opening sentence, that should be very clear and very simple. The subject matter should be very clear and simple, and the concluding sentence should be very clear. Also, when you are subscribing the subscription, or we can call it as a leave taking, that time we have to mention necessarily to whom you are writing the letter. The salutation you check first. As per the salutations, you have to mention the leave taking too. Suppose you are writing to your father, then yours affectionately, or yours loving son, or your affectionate son or daughter, yours loving son or loving daughter, yours sincerely, yours friend, yours truly, or to your close friend you can write yours friend. After the letter, after writing these subscriptions, you need to be able to mention the signature of yours, only the first name only you should be maintaining it. So students, here we have one letter writing, personal letter to be written, that we have made a practice to write. The letter to be written to your uncle saying, your uncle